If hanging pictures stresses you out, this tiny trick makes hanging 10 times easier. Let's tackle this blank wall in our guest bedroom and give it some personality without the stress of complicated measurements or crooked frames. Today, I'm diving into my stash of wall art and found something I had totally forgotten about. Artist sketches of my twin daughters from a visit to the state fair years ago. Cue the tears and the inspiration. As I looked through my art collection, I noticed a common thread that started to bring this gallery wall together. Many of the pieces had gold frames or gold accents, and there was another theme that kept popping up: female faces, like my girls' sketches and other portraits I've collected over time. That felt like the perfect story to tell on this wall. But I wanted to bring in a little more oomph, so I decided to add some color to the mats in the sketches to tie everything together. Here's how I did it, and spoiler alert, it's so easy. I started by removing the image and mat from the frame. Then I grabbed some patterned paper I already had on hand. Place the mat on the paper, fold over one side, and pay attention to the direction of the pattern on the paper. This doesn't require fancy glue or tools, just good old tape. Secure the paper to the back of the mat. For the inner window of the mat, cut a small X in the center, then snip out toward each corner. Trim the paper about an inch past the mat edge. Fold it back and tape it down. Pop the artwork and the newly wrapped mat back into the frame, and voila, a completely fresh look. Now comes the fun part, designing your gallery wall layout. Lay everything out on the floor and play with placement. Go symmetrical, go with asymmetrical. Just go with what you love. Once you've found the winning combo, trace each piece onto butcher paper. Cut out the paper templates, label them, and tape them onto the wall with painter's tape. This little hack lets you see your layout at eye level and make adjustments before you commit. Here's where the magic happens, because not all wall hooks are created equal, but hook hooks, total game changer. Whether you've got sawtooth hangers, D-rings, or wire backs on your artwork, hook has a hook that works with your art, not against it. They're strong, sturdy, and incredibly easy to use. Here's what I do. Mark where the hook should go on your paper template with a dot. Then place the hook right on that mark. Tap it in with a hammer and tear the paper away. Boom! Your hook is exactly where you want it, no guesswork involved. For most of my gallery wall, I used the hooks that hold up to 10 pounds. They're perfect for standard frames and feel super secure. But for those heavier pieces, like pieces with frames or heavy glass, I reach for the heavy-duty hooks with 2 nails. I know my treasured wall art isn't going anywhere. A gallery wall is one of my favorite ways to fill a blank space with meaning, and thanks to hooks, I know everything I hang is safe and sound. Thanks to for sponsoring this video. Do you have drawers or boxes full of things you have saved from trips or special events? Things that don't fit well in a scrapbook? We have lots of these souvenir memories from our honeymoon trip to Italy years ago, and I want to display them so we can see them every day. Find a frame that will work for your space. If it has a mat like mine, remove the mat and use this for your souvenir grouping. Lay your frame or mat on a surface and start to arrange your souvenirs in a collage pattern that you like. Start by creating a background with a map, patterned paper, or a special document. Then start to layer the souvenirs and photos on top. And because we had lots of items, I decided to create 3 separate collages. Once you have a design that you like, take the open frame or mat and place it on the top of a copy machine. Then start to lay your souvenir pieces in the same design upside down on the copy machine. Press copy and see your memory collages emerge from the machine. Once you have your copies, trim around the image, leaving about an inch border. Center the image behind the mat and secure it in place with painter's tape. Slide the mat into the frame and then secure in the frame with the tabs. Hang your collage on a wall where you will see it every day and enjoy the flood of memories that they bring. I hope this inspired you to gather up those special memories from your drawers and create a memory collage for your wall. Thanks for watching Home Talk. I'll see you next time. Poster frames can be used for more than just posters. Take the frame apart and remove the inner paper label. You will be left with a large cardboard piece and the plastic sheet that substitutes for glass on a poster frame. Take any type of acrylic paint and paint a thick layer of paint over the entire surface of the plastic sheet. While you're waiting for the paint to dry, grab some bunches of faux flowers. Cut each of the flower stems at the base to remove them from the bunch. Once you have cut the flowers from the bunches, put the frame pieces back together around your painted poster board sheet. Then, take your flowers and arrange them onto the poster board into a design that you like. Take a hot glue gun and apply a thin bead of glue to the stem of a large flower bloom. Press the stem onto the board for a couple of seconds and wait for the glue to cool and harden. Once the flower is attached, feel free to twist and bend the flower forward for a three-dimensional look. Now take some green moss and glue it onto the bottom of the painted sheet, covering the flower stems and filling in larger spaces. You can then spray the moss with a light coat of spray adhesive to keep the moss in place. Voila! A three-dimensional flower art piece. Hang one on the wall as a beautiful piece of wall art, or hang more than one as part of a gallery wall or art display. Do you have old photo frames or wall art frames stored in your house? Let's give them a little makeover. For your first frame, remove the mat from the frame and then tape off sections of the frame with painter's tape. You can be very symmetrical with the blocks you tape off, or you can be asymmetrical. With a small paintbrush, brush craft paint onto the exposed areas of the frame. Paint those exposed areas on the side of the frame as well. You can give these spaces a couple of coats to get it solid, or leave it with just one coat so some of the frame color shows through. Once dry, carefully remove the painter's tape. If needed, go back with your brush and touch up any areas that need fixing. Now put the original mat back into the frame. Using the painted blocks on the frame as your guide, use your small paintbrush to lightly paint a broken line onto the mat that is an extension of the painted blocks on the frame. Now take some artwork, or in my case, a scrap of wallpaper in a coordinating color, and tape it to the back side of the frame with painter's tape. Enjoy the various patterns you've created on this frame. For your second frame, spray paint the frame in a neutral color. I chose to paint this dingy, dated frame a bright white. Draw a pattern on the outer edge of the frame by using a quarter. Lay half the quarter on the edge of the frame and trace around it with a pen or pencil. Do this around the entire perimeter of the frame. Now take your paintbrush and with your craft paint, start to outline the curvy pattern and fill in the space on the frame. Be sure to paint over your pen or pencil tracing lines. For this frame, I found a sheet of peel and stick wallpaper from the dollar store. Since this is a photo frame and didn't have a mat, I simply opened the frame, peeled the wallpaper, and stuck it to the inside of the frame. Instant wall art. For the last frame, take an old gold frame and give it a dusting of spray paint. Pour some craft paint into a plastic cup, add water, and mix thoroughly. With a foam brush, use the watered-down paint to paint the mat with a finish that is similar to a watercolor. Variation of color is encouraged. Put the dry mat back into the frame and tape a piece of bold wallpaper to the back of the frame. Flip the frame over and with a paint pen, draw a pattern on the mat that is somehow reflected in the artwork. My wallpaper has lots of straight white lines in it, so I simply extended those lines onto the mat. Now I used wallpaper as my chosen artwork, but you can frame anything you like. Display your new painted frames as part of a gallery wall. I hope this inspired you to paint some simple frames and frame mats to create your own unique gallery wall. Thanks for watching Home Talk. See you next time.